And so you mentioned that sort of change. Is it almost like, you know, with people in weight loss, where they've got a before and after, you've got these two sort of images? Is that very much what's happened with your company that you've, and what would you say is sort of the biggest change? You know, what's your biggest weight loss from that
Um,
22?
so the biggest difference is now we live and breathe our values every day. Now I've heard other people say that, but what that means to us is we reflect on the values as a team. So as you've seen, like we do a weekly on Mondays. We do a weekly shout out basically where people will say thanks for Bob for helping me do something, show great team, that sort of thing. So we get a bit of public praise. So we have the team talking about it, um, and that's everyone. Everyone will draw back praise and thanks to other team members to the values. Obviously, as a manager in the business, it's a useful tool. So in private, I'll praise in public. I'll praise for showing the values, and in private, it gives a way to drive conversation on areas to improve. Um,
Sure.
and it's really, I think the biggest thing. Well, it's helped the team and me to understand. It's like a decision framework. This
Sure.
behavior showing the values of the business? If it's not, then it shouldn't be done, basically. So and I guess what the biggest difference since before and after is we hire and fire based on the values. So in recruitment, it's really useful. It used to be a bit more of a wishy-washy decision based on skills. Now it's more based on the values, and if a team member is consistently not living by the values, then it's a framework to make that decision also.
Sure. And then I suppose it then makes that process 10 times easier as a criteria then that sort of people need to match, and that's very clear then when you come into the company that this is the criteria and we all stick by that. But
Absolutely. It really provides it, like I say, it's the framework, the and the criteria. It's
sure.
you sometimes you know someone's really good, and you can do a meeting and you dress out you draw out why are they good, and you look at the values, and you can see, oh, they're really living by the values, and that's why. And when you have a team member where it just doesn't work, you might like them as a person, and
Yeah.
in the past you would just carry on liking them and thinking, oh, they're okay and they're not so bad, and you'd always be telling yourself that. But once you are living by the values and you think something's just not right, and I can't really put my finger on it, but when you have the values, you have a criteria and you go through and you go, you know what, that you're not living this value. You know, you're not
Sure.
showing team, you're not showing care, um, and again, it's part of EOS. You have a framework for helping you to make these decisions. So yeah, it really aids and removes it removes the confusion that you can get with normal relationships.
Sure. And then, like I say, you come into that recruitment side. I know a lot of people at the moment will be talking about recruitment because of the situation at the moment. And I suppose that makes then recruitment for support tree and yourself a lot easier. And can you see then other sort of companies, maybe in your sector, that are struggling with that because they don't have what you've set up here?
Absolutely. I think that the recruitment process has been made a lot easier. It's changed our focus. Um, I still think in the service industry, most people still focus on skills. You know, do you have the skills to do the job? Do you have a pulse? Yes, come in. So um, we don't focus on the skills. So first of all, we're looking for the values. Um,
Sure.
we're looking for fit and values. So our of course skills are important, but you can build skills. So you can't. Values are what makes the person. You can
Sure.
you can adapt and you can work with people and you can build um, you can build on these values, but fundamentally, if there's a mismatch, then it's just not going to work. So these days, what we're looking for in a CV, we're looking for evidence of our values, basically. And when they come into an interview, we'll look for more detail around that. And it's reduced our how can I put it? It's reduced our mistakes considerably.
Sure.
I mean, we made quite a few mistakes in the past where we just looked at the CV, come on in, and very
Yeah.
quickly you're just thinking, oh my God, this person does not fit. But
Yeah.
when you don't have a value framework, it's sometimes hard to pinpoint down why. So yeah, it's made a huge difference.
So then, you're very good with the hiring, and you can decipher that quite quickly and easily. Would you say then, in terms of keeping your best talent, would you say that that has become easier because of values, or you say that's still difficult, especially with what the market like is at the moment, retaining the sort of top performers? How have you sort of worked your way around that?
Yeah, no, I think it really makes a difference. It's everyone knows where they stand. So you have your standard KPIs. So each one of our team members will have a KPI. They'll have a number. We have the permission. Like you also have the permission to play values. Like the underneath these four core values, you've got the things like you don't turn up late. You have standard honesty. You wouldn't put
Yeah.
honesty as a value, a core value, because it's just permission to play. You should have that anyway. So having a value framework gives clarity to everyone of what's expected. So on top of the standard KPI performance, so you could have someone who, yeah, they're great, they close loads of tickets, they close more than anyone else, but
Yeah.
they just care for themselves, and they become a rotten apple.
Sure.
And you know what happens when you have a rotten apple in a fruit bowl? It spreads, basically. So
Yeah.
it yeah. So if you stick to your values, you hire and fire by them, it makes the other team members happier as well, because
Sure.
they feel like they're not pulling the weight of someone else, and that's where I think it helps with retention.
In a way, best talent for yourselves and someone else might be very different because they're very subjective based on that company's values,
Hmm.
and skill set then,
Yeah,
which is almost then sort of not categorizing people out of the question in sort of a talent issue. It's looking at
exactly.
the person themselves and then picking that up, and like I say, I think especially with training, keeping that in the company and building people up is very good at keeping those people in there as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We have a training plan, and that, because that's part of growth as well. So growth is not 100% down to the individual. It's the the business as a whole needs to show these values as well. So we have training plans. We send people on training, but like I said, if we focus on the person showing those values, the skills we can train up. Skills people can learn, core personality traits, are harder to change.